So, some of the things that we wanted to do with Dementium 2 over the first Dementium game was kind of focus on the weapons. Now, you'll notice that there's a big difference between the melee combat in Dementium 2. With the shank, for example, there are the 3 strikes, which is kind of similar to the first game, but the third strike is a more powerful kind of lunge, and there's more of a timing element required to basically pull it off. And you can just be a bit more flexible with it. You can kind of do the 1-1-2 kind of slashes, or you can do the 1-2-3 to get the full third powerful hit in there, but the third hit does kind of leave you at a slight disadvantage for a small amount of time. So it's up to you if you want to use that. But to that compared, I think Dementium, the Ward is a big improvement in my mind. And something else that helps give you that kind of feedback is how the enemies react to it, not only with their animations. They have different animations based on how powerful you've hurt them, basically. So a small hit will obviously have a small animation, and then a large thud with a sledgehammer, for example, may knock them to the ground. And then that's accompanied by unique audio as well. So that really plays into how satisfying and how effective you're being with your weapons, which is, I think, a big deal. We went for a large assortment of weapons, of course. We have a good supply of melee weapons with the shank, the sledgehammer, and then moving on to the classic revolver, shotgun. But then we also have some different things, such as the flamethrower, which is a makeshift kind of flamethrower made from a Zippo lighter and an aerosol can. When you put them together, makes a nice effect. And the big challenge with that was getting the particle effect to work well. Basically, the flames and the smoke to actually look decent and kind of realistic, for DS standards. And I think the result actually worked out really well. And last weapon I wanted to mention also is the nail gun, which is a great, just a fun variation on a range weapon. Projectile weapon, but it's got a nice feeling to it. It is different than everything's balanced differently, so it is different than the revolver or the machine gun and so on, as far as the rate of fire, the damage that's inflicted, how long it takes to reload, things like that, how much ammo you have, how many bullets it holds in each kind of cache. So that's a fun weapon. It's one of my favorites. Is the nail gun. Something else we wanted to add to Dementium 2 is the ability to crouch and jump, which is a big deal. It really adds to the overall feeling of you being in control, making it more realistic, more immersive, where you can choose to jump over objects or crouch under or crouch through tunnels and so on. It kind of just adds more dynamicness to, is that even a word, more dynamics to just your path, the way you progress through the game, and it allows you to kind of be a bit more kind of experimental and kind of explore more to kind of see where maybe you can go. So it added a lot of sense to your freedom in the game, which is good. The big challenge with that was how we'd implement it, how we'd actually allow the player to crouch and jump. One of our first thoughts being, double tap down on the control pad, away basically, to crouch. But then you would find sometimes you'd want to double tap away to kind of run away, which is often the case in Dementium 2. So we left it so double tap in any direction on the control pad is run, or move quickly in that direction basically, and then opted for the touch buttons on the touchscreen for the jump and the crouch. But in addition to that, you can double tap with your stylus on the touchscreen to jump. So I think that worked out really well. One of the big improvements we wanted to make with Dementium 2 are better save points and just how the player is able to do that. So there's manual saves littered liberally throughout the game. And you can obviously revisit them as many times as you like. Sometimes in the village, for example, you'll actually retraverse back past a save point. So they'll be located in a central place where you can use it multiple times if you want to. In addition to that, there are auto saves around bosses and places like that and chapters, so you don't have to worry about that. So no more dying in the middle of a chapter and having to restart from the beginning again. And one of the big visual differences we wanted to go for with Dementium 2 is in the environment. In Dementium 1, you are very much, in just one location, and 90% of that location you're inside, dark, corridors in the hospital. With this, we wanted to start the game off in a similar kind of setting, but this time you're in a dirty prison instead, kind of turned into a mental kind of, hospital type place. But then pretty soon you get to go outside, not only to the kind of courtyard of the prison, but also later to the Pelf village, the snowy kind of village, which is just a huge dramatic difference visually from the other part of the game. So and then there's a third area of the game as well, which is quite different from that. And then in addition to that, of course, we have the Hell dimension that you're transported to randomly throughout your journey through the game. So it really does present pretty tremendous amount of variety, and it's less cookie cutter. Every step you take is pretty much unique, uniquely built and textured by the artists, and the difference is just night and day. It's a huge improvement over the Dementium the Ward.